So I'm going to back off here and let Pastor Phillips have a few minutes.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you to all of you veterans. I don't think you'll ever find a man or a person who is more thankful for your service to our country. You've stood for us, and we are thankful. You're welcome here. Let me just share with you that the restrooms are out in the main foyer to the left. There's some private restrooms if you need those. Just go through the door to the left. They're handicap accessible as well. If there's any need you have, water, something that you don't see, ask some of the folks there, and we have it here for you. We are just so grateful to have you here in this church. One thing I know about veterans is this: they stick together. Is that true? And you like to be together. Is that true? I mean, you can almost call a meeting any time and say it's going to be veterans and you guys want to be together, right? Because you have something in common. You feel like brothers and sisters. You feel like family. You call yourself comrades, right? That's right. Well, in this crowd of veterans, I just want to say that you don't have to stop meeting together when this world is over. There's an opportunity for you to be able to stay with your friends that you love so dearly and live with them for eternity. That's what I want to speak about for a moment. You know, there's a book called the Bible. If I said to all of you, you got to read the Bible before you get to go to heaven, here's what you would say. You would say, the Bible is such a big book, I don't think I could ever read it. That's how you picture this if you're like when I started. This Bible, by the way, is the oldest one I could find, 1851. Amen. So, just for a moment, give me 3 minutes of your time. I'm going to take this big old book and I'm going to squeeze it down to one word. One word, if you understand it, will get you into heaven. What is it, Pastor? Faith. Faith. Well, somebody's going to say, well, how much faith do I have to have? I don't think I have any faith. That's what someone here is thinking. You know, I was standing here watching people as they came in the auditorium when you were asked to come in and take a seat. I didn't see anyone shaking the chair, looking on the bottom to see if it had a maximum weight length or to see if it would hold you up. No, what you did was you just believed that that chair was going to do what it was designed to do. It was going to hold you up when you sit down, right? So you had faith. You just sit down. You know, that's all the faith you need to get to heaven. But the faith you have to have is not in a chair. It's not in a religion. It's in a person. And his name is Jesus. Jesus Christ is the way to heaven. But you have to have faith. So what does faith mean, Pastor? Let me give it to you in an acronym. Faith means forsaking all, I trust him. Forsaking all, I trust him. Now what do you mean? You just got to understand it. I may never get to read this book. And by the way, in this book, there's a story where Jesus was on the cross and the man was a criminal. He was moments away from being put to death. And he didn't have time to be baptized or read the Bible or know anything about religion. But what he did know was that he was hanging next to the Savior. And so he said to Jesus, Lord, will you remember me when you get into your kingdom? Oh, well, that don't sound like a very religious prayer, does it? That wouldn't work in my church. someone said. But it was all Jesus needed because he knew that man was speaking from his heart. So you don't have to say anything out loud. You don't have to get up in front of somebody and say anything out loud. You just need to understand this morning and believe with all your heart that if you want to spend eternity with all your comrades, then just put your faith in Jesus. Forsake all that you know, forsake all that you've been told, and just trust this book and trust Jesus. So if you're here this morning and in a crowd this big, usually my experience is that there's someone who hasn't made that choice. You put it off. You didn't think you had enough faith. You didn't think you were good enough. You thought you had sins that couldn't be forgiven, but Jesus can forgive you. And so I want to lead in a prayer right now. And if you're one of those people in this building, and you've never just said, Jesus, I believe you can hold me up. I believe that I'm just going to rest in you. I'm not too good, but I'm just going to let you, Jesus, hold me up. Then I want to pray for you right now. Let's pray together. Dear God, in the name of Jesus, our Lord and Savior, through the power of your Holy Spirit, would you speak to every person in this building? You can do that, sweet Spirit of God. You know where to put your finger and touch that heart in the place that will get their attention the most. And I pray, dear God, that every veteran comrade and every person in this building will get to spend eternity in heaven with you forever and evermore and enjoy the pleasures of the Lord. And so, dear God, I pray that someone right now will call upon the name of the Lord, because your word says, dear God, that whoever calls on the name of the Lord shall be saved. I pray that you'll do that right now, only through Jesus, only through your power, only through your Spirit. Bless their gathering. I pray that these veterans can find benefits that they need, assistance that they need in their lives at this time, and that they will be blessed by attending this event today. I thank you in Jesus' name. Let's all say together, amen. Thank you.
Hey, good morning. I'm James Dignan. I'm your Cumberland County Veteran Service Officer. I do not like to be up at the podium or anything like that. I kind of like to walk around and everything, so bear with me. And then I understand those screens are a little bit smaller, so if you're sitting up front, hopefully you got your good eyeballs on. I know I brought my spectacles. So I'm going to hand out about 5 of these for the back there. If you can just kind of take one and pass around and look over each other's shoulders. Hey, we're on a government budget. This is your Cumberland County dime right here, so that's why you only got 5. All right? And then I'll actually I was going to take my notes, but I'll give my notes to somebody else here because I can read that wonderful screen in the back if somebody would like that. Yeah. So please make sure those kind of get to the back. If I gave those, please push those to the back. Those are really just for you to follow along with the slides. Some things I'm going to talk about today is I was asked to present on basic information and overview for DIC, which is Dependency and Indemnity Compensation, and some grant information, vehicle adaptation, stuff like that. Okay. There's some general assumptions here with this, is that you have an entry level of knowledge because your spouse or your partner or whatever is already service connected for something. All right. Before I get into too much there, I'm going to ask a special thanks to everybody that did show up. I counted 70, so that's really good. That's not too bad. And really special thanks to the pastor and the team here at First Baptist and everything for hosting us. Great facility, and I really appreciate that. So thank you. This way, things don't get diluted down. I was going to let Lyle come on after me, but I'm actually going to ask Lyle. He's with the Vet Center in Knoxville. I'm going to do a shameless plug for them. and I'm going to hand it over to him. So back years ago, we had in Crossville, we had a great partnership with the Vet Center. Vet Center is in Nashville or Knoxville, and I believe there's one in Chattanooga, right? Yeah. So the Vet Center does a lot of great things for combat vets, and they're actually branching out now to a few other resources there too. So Lyle will get into that, but I just want to say, you know, I'm part of the quarterly commission where I go there, and you know, we project our needs with the Vet Center, and they're very responsive to helping us out and what the rural community needs. I don't think it's vastly utilized as it should be. I know it's a little bit further away than we desire, but I also know that they're very good at doing remote stuff and everything like that. So we are looking at fostering that relationship further and reinvigorating our memorandum of agreement. It's a MOA that we had where the Vet Center will have a satellite office basically co-located with us here in your Cumberland County Veteran Service Office. And that will hopefully help out a lot of our veterans, because I'll tell you, I'm probably putting about 2 mental health claims in a day. I put about 4 claims in a day, pretty big claims. We're batting pretty good, but I think with that much out there, since we're seeing that much of a spike in mental health awareness and need, this is a valuable resource that is not shared with a VA provider. So that's one thing. It's by the VA, but it's not shared with the VA provider unless you authorize it to be released. Okay. So if you have something to say and spouses need help and stuff like that, then the Vet Center is there as a resource. Okay. They have groups, they have spouses groups, they have everything. We've got the information available for you, but I'll let Lyle turn it over to him for a couple minutes and then get it back.
Hey, thanks for having me. Like you said, my name's Lyle Allen. I'm retired Army myself. How many people here were Army? Okay. I just want to get it. Air Force? Marines? Okay. Navy? Space Force? Not yet? And Coast Guard. We do see Coast Guards, so if they're, even though, you know. But, so after Vietnam ended, the Vet Center was established in 1979. They realized after a lot of the Vietnam vets that are in the room, a lot of you guys went to Congress, said that you guys needed a special program to help with readjustment. So you guys went before Congress, and then they're like, hey, this is a great idea. So they established the Vet Center back in 1979. So the main reason was for the readjustment purposes, because the transition from combat to the civilian life was a struggle. I used it myself after I got back from Iraq. It definitely helped me. I spent a couple years in polytrauma after being hit by multiple IEDs. So the Vet Center was there. I was still on active duty, and I didn't want my command to know anything about my records, because then somebody told me that, what about the Vet Center? The records are confidential. They don't release them. They're not part of the DoD Joint Legacy Viewer like the regular VA. We have our standalone record system. So I was like, okay, I could probably do that, because I didn't want to, my chain of command to find out that I was, because there was a stigma back then. People struggling, you're always told to strap up your boots, drive on, continue the mission. So I started using the Vet Center, and it definitely helped me out. I had people in upper leadership. My first sergeant, I was E6 at the time on recruiting duty, and they're like, hey, something's wrong with, I think you need to go talk to somebody. So went out there, then I realized after getting to the Vet Center that the majority of the staff themselves were combat vets and veterans themselves, so it was that peer-to-peer camaraderie, the networking. So it was definitely a good opportunity for me to get down, express what I was feeling, and to realize that I wasn't alone in what I was feeling. So it helped me progress. Unfortunately, I was going through the med board at the time. So after I medically retired, the Vet Center was still there. It wasn't a benefit I lost. Everybody who served, our eligibility is for combat vets was the original. Then it got expanded to military sexual trauma. And then it was bereavement for Gold Star families. Or even if you're a UAV operator now, you're able to utilize our services. Drug and interdiction teams with the Coast Guard or Navy or anything like that, your services are free. If you're using your Chapter 31, 35, or 33 benefits, if you're enrolled in school, you can come utilize our services if you're not a combat vet or meet any of those other eligibilities. The resources out there, we see a lot of people as humanitarian at times too, so if you are needing a referral, you can come to a vet center for up to 5 to 10 sessions, and then we'll try to get you with a community partner or to see if you're eligible with VA services. We'll get that 1010 easy form going on for you, and to see if you do qualify for VA services and stuff like that. So, but we do have a great connection with a lot of community partners. All the VSOs out here are amazing. But I know with like some of it's a benefit you earn, so don't hold back. You know, you guys put your boots on, you served your country. If you are struggling, there's no shame in that. You know, reach out to us, talk to us. We'll definitely listen, you know, and help where we can. But other than that, I can talk a little bit about the mobile vet center out there too. So as you came in the door, you saw that mobile vet center out there. So that vehicle is to reach rural veterans and communities that aren't really close to a VA center. So we try to make it easier for them to get connected with one of our counselors. We're also a FEMA asset, so besides the satellite or the Cradle Point, which is an automatic 5G network, we're considered a level 1 emergency response vehicle. So we can do mash cash if we have to with that vehicle. I can transport up to 6 patients at a time if needed. Hopefully I won't need that. Also, if you go into it, you'll see that there's 2 conference rooms. It's very well laid out. We have a waiting room in the middle, and then we usually sometimes bring counselors out there so you can talk to them if you need to. But we partner with a lot of other agencies and organizations, so it's just, we try to be a one-stop shop. Like if you come to us and we don't know the answer, we'll definitely give them to a veteran service officer to help with claims and stuff like that. But for the most part, you know, we're just like you all. We served, we part of the community, and we get it. So if you ever do need somebody to talk to, we're here. I know I'm rambling, it's part of my TBI, so I apologize. But other than that, I know there are going to be questions and stuff, but I do have the table out there, so if you just swing by, and I'll be more than happy to answer any of your questions. And I appreciate you all. Thank you.
And that was impromptu, so Lyle, really appreciate that. Yeah, kind of threw him to the wolves there. Okay, so now you get to buckle up for me for about 25 minutes. And I know Sherry's going to keep me honest. She always does that. So, all right, so this is what we're going to do. This is our journey today. A brief understanding. We're going to go through an introduction, DIC, war pension. We're also going to go through special monthly compensation. So that's your housebound, your aid and attendance, and then all things grants, right? Am I going to get down to details? No. Am I going to answer all your questions here? No. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some resources, enough information to ask a good question and come and see me or any other VSO or somebody that can help you out or where to go to get some more information, okay? Let's see, this is who I am. Lieutenant Commander, retired Navy, 29 years. I'm a grandpa. I don't know, some people say, oh wow, you look so young. Okay, no way, right? That's what, my oldest grandson is 8 years old. So, and he's over in Italy with his dad, which is he's up for chief, hopefully we'll put it on. So, and then, I have a couple other grandkids, father of 4, 2 boys, 2 girls. So really proud of them. National security is high on their mark, right? So my son's an intel officer. Now he gets since he's retired. Now he's working down in Huntsville as an intel guy. He tried teaching for a little bit, didn't work out for him so well. He says, kids are mean. That's what he said, kids are mean, Dad. And I was like, okay. So, my daughter, she is now just graduated last couple weeks ago with her master's from UT, Go Vols. And she's teaching now in Knoxville, so she'll be starting here next month. So they're doing really great, and then my other daughter's a small business owner. So they're doing really great. She's kicking butt with the nail thing. I'm so impressed with what they're doing. My office. We have changed locations. We're no longer in the courthouse downtown. We are across the street, right? So the old courthouse, we're across the street, the Milo building. We're in the back. You got to we left a lot of signs, but you know, the first thing people will not read signs to save their lives. They will actually go into the office and ask the tax collectors where the VSO office is. We left a lot of signs for you. There's breadcrumbs going all the way back to our office. But we're Suite 105. We're back going the Milo building. Just kind of worm your way back into the corner. Or just like we were in the basement in the other building, we're in the back corner in this one. So that's how much love they have for us. Okay, so what did we do? A latest initiative. We have just hired a part-time, okay? Katie Unra, she is a disabled veteran herself, 20-year Army, and I really wanted a National Guard, Army National Guard, and I was blessed the day she walked in the office, and I just started poaching her. She was working for somebody else, and I was like, Katie, you really want to come and do this job? This is super rewarding, so on and so forth. So I'm thankful Katie is joining the team. She'll be going through accreditation next month. And I think she's going to do great things. She's just soaking in all the knowledge. So doing really good stuff. And then Wendy, she has been with the office for 12 years now. I think she's a wealth of knowledge. She's kind of my frontline defense, because I can get distracted pretty easily throughout the day, and if she doesn't block and tackle people from coming in, it doesn't give you when you're sitting down with me, you're the most important person in the room, right? And I want to get all the details of your claim. I want to give you the best service possible. I want to get you that maximum benefit. And if your maximum benefit is 10%, then that's what we can do. If your maximum benefit is 100% with all the extra stuff, then that's what we can do. I just want to make sure we can get that to you, okay? I avoid all those other distractions, okay? Let's see, what we do is advocate, right? That's the big thing. We advocate, we put in your claims. We are your voice. We're putting things on the right forms. We're not listening to the rumor mill. It's terrible. I love veterans, I'm pro-veteran, I'm pro-VA, but we are the biggest gossip mill there is. Well, my neighbor gets this, and I should get this. They're getting it, so why aren't I? You know what? And I can tell you this right now. Every claim is different. Every single claim is different. Everybody's journey is different in this life, right? Your experiences in the military were not the same as my experiences in the military. Okay, so we are unique, all right? So let's respect that about each other. Just because your neighbor is entitled to something doesn't make you entitled to something. They might not be sharing a little detail with you because people are private, okay? You may think you know them, but you probably don't, okay? I do have confidentiality. I have a closed door all the time, and I don't share that information. Just because you come in there and say, well, you can look so-and-so up. Nope, won't do it, okay? I can give you your information. And that applies to spouses too. Unless a spouse has gotten authorization from you as the veteran, that's your claim. I can't go in and generate paperwork for that spouse. Even though you can call and get angry with us, we can't do that. We can't disclose that information because you as the veteran or you are the client. If you're the client, you're the person I'm representing. It's just kind of like a legal thing, right? I've had a couple of ex-spouses come in and they're very bitter. And they're like, my husband, I don't want him to get paid anymore for me. And I'm like, well, that's great, okay? That's his claim, all right? You have nothing to do with that, okay? That's just the way it works, all right? But spouses have rights too, so we need to acknowledge that and then we move on. There's certain things we can claim for that as well. All right, so again, thank you to our guests. That's just the ones I knew of when I prepared this earlier this week. And then I really, really appreciate the partnership with Tennessee Valley Healthcare System. TVHS, if you've worked with me, you've heard us say that before. I utilize Tennessee Valley Healthcare System myself 100%. If you know me at all, I just had both my hips replaced. and I am so thankful I have VA healthcare. Okay, I'm in a lot less pain, and I'm getting better every day. All right, it's just, I will tell you, Tennessee Valley Healthcare System was last ranked 17th in the nation across all healthcares. So pretty darn good, folks. You know, that's a high bar to set. So if you're not utilizing your VA benefits, please see them in the room. Was it Samantha? Stephanie. I'm terrible with names. That's part of my issues. Stephanie is back there. She can enroll today. We can enroll. Vet Center can enroll. There's lots of opportunity to enroll. We've got the science down where it's about a week to 2 turnaround with you getting your answer back and getting you enrolled. Okay, that's pretty darn good because it was taking months. All right, but with that relationship we've had with that healthcare eligibility, it's been huge. And they just expanded that last March. Okay, VA expanded, and everybody expanded ahead of time eligibility for healthcare. So basically, if you were exposed to any toxin whatsoever, you could qualify. Okay, I get a lot of people that says, "Oh, they turned me down before." Okay, that was before. Things change. Things are constantly evolving with the VA. All right, so just please remember that. Okay, now we are to the point in the journey here where we're just going to talk about DIC. And I understand this is really small. The main thing I want to cut in on is you have some factors up there. You know, one of those must be true. Okay, can you be divorced and claim in DIC? Your benefits stop the second you get that divorce. Okay, so that means if the veteran passes away after you get the divorce, even if you were with them for 40 years, you don't get that. You don't get that eligibility. Now stops. Okay. You can be, there's some certain cases where you can be separated if it was no fault of your own, like domestic violence, stuff like that. Especially if it's related to the service-connected injury. Like say there is a TBI issue or mental health issue, and then you, for your own safety, you have to separate. Okay. All right. So DIC is a huge thing that spouses need to be aware of. Okay. Let's see. DIC applies to children. It applies to parents. Okay, I've got one parent. She was living with her son. He had a TBI, and she gets parental DIC. Okay, so there's certain unique circumstances where that could apply to as well. Okay, so just remember that. All right, there's the qualifiers there. I'm not gonna bore you and read the slide, but I do want to say. Does your DIC stop when you remarry? If you're reading the slide, you got the answer. So, all right. Yes, if you're below a certain age, right? So, but after 55, on current standards, after 55, you can keep your DIC. Okay. So just remember that. And if you want to have it reinstated, say you do get remarried, say you're below 55 years old, and you do get remarried. And then that marriage falls to the wayside. Can you restore your DIC? You could put in an application to restore your DIC. So please remember that, okay? The main important takeaway, come and see somebody knowledgeable, somebody accredited that can help you through that. Don't fumble through it yourself, okay? All right, a lot more words there. Evidence of, the service-connected issues, so on and so forth. Let's see. Active duty, they have to be active duty, that DD 214 period or DD 300, okay? In certain circumstances, active for training can count. So especially National Guard, the reason why I wanted a National Guard flavor there is because most heavily deployed asset we had was, for a long time, was National Guard. And I think they're underrepresented. We've got some National Guard folks that have been on more deployments than active duty folks and have seen more combat than active duty folks. Okay, and I think we need to acknowledge that, and then the spouses need to be aware that they have benefits too. Just because they probably didn't qualify when or the spouse didn't take advantage of it because they didn't think they were qualified. If you're a spouse, you need to come and see us and let us determine if you are so on and so forth, okay? Okay, there's some evidentiary requirements. You gotta have some medical records if we're trying to establish a service-connected injury. That's what it is. DIC applies if the veteran is service-connected. What can you do if you're sitting next to your spouse is the veteran? What can you do to prepare for the future? Know what your veteran is service-connected for. I mean service-connected disability. That veteran's service-connected disabilities, you need to be aware of them. As a spouse, due diligence. As a veteran, please take care of your spouse. Have the latest printout and discuss it. Have that open discussion. You go, it's less than likely than not that you will die because of a stubbed big toe, all right? Or you're going to pass away because of your hearing, all right? I got a lot of people that are tinnitus connected, so on and so forth, and you're most likely not going to pass away for something succumbing to your hearing. Now, if you're deaf and you run out in front of traffic, and then maybe we can get that connected, all right? Or if dementia has set in and it's secondary to your hearing loss, right, which is service-connected. We can try to walk those breadcrumbs, but most likely not, we're not going to get there, okay? I want to share with you one thing that this is how far we'll go to establish service connection. How to service member spouse, surviving spouse come in, and these are, we break down walls to get them in as soon as possible, okay? Unfortunately, the service member, the veteran, took his own life, okay? So I'm searching high and low. He was only service connected for his back, and I think it was like 20%, okay? But we went as far, we dug in those medical records. He had a serious balance issue, okay? And we're correlating that balance to the fall he took. The fall then led to sepsis, so on and so forth, see? So we worked that theory with the doctors, followed those breadcrumbs back, and now we're establishing eligibility for DIC for the spouse, okay? The surviving spouse becomes my client at that point. The same mountains that we moved to try to establish service connection for the veteran and get that veteran's compensation will be the same compensation we work for the spouse, okay? There's some rules here, okay? After 10 years, if you don't pass away of a service-connected issue, after 10 years of being 100%, okay? 10 years of collecting 100%, there's, am I done already? Holy moly, okay, wow, all right. That's crazy. I didn't even talk that long. All right. Okay. After 10 years of being service connected, everything has become service connected. Okay. Remember that. After 10 years, everything becomes service connected. Meaning, and I hate to say that, you can go jump out in front of that bus if you want, and that's going to be service connected. Okay. All right. So everything becomes that. Will a spouse get a portion that you're collecting $4,000 a month as a veteran? Most of us are. Most, if you're 100%, you're getting around there. It's tax-free. As a surviving spouse, do you get a portion of that? What percentage of that do you get if you qualify for DIC? Y'all know? You get none. You get no percent. There is no established percentage. Okay, it's kind of a trick question, but remember that. Okay, I get that question probably about 3 times a week or so. I want to know, how much of my disability my spouse will get. That's easy. The answer is always going to be 0. The spouse has to qualify for their own compensation. Okay, that's the right answer. We have to put in an application. It's not automatic. You have to qualify for DIC. DIC at present rate is $1,612.74 or 75 cents. I'm going to hurry up. There you go. There it is, 75 cents. There's a long table there, so on and so forth. You also get a special monthly compensation if the veteran was 100% for 8 years and you're married, okay? So remember that. Special compensation comes in at 8 years of 100%. 100% is 100%, folks. Doesn't matter what it is. If it's TDIU or if it's permanent total, it's 100%. The rules are written that way for a reason, okay? Because a lot of people come in and get TDIU and then they think that their spouse doesn't qualify for anything. It's not the case. You can be 100% continuously for 8 years, you get that, or 10 years, you get that, okay? There's a list of calculated payments, stuff like that. You could receive up to $3,000 in DIC if you qualify for all these things. So say you're a grandparent like me, and my kids weren't doing so well, and I had to bring in my grandchildren, and I took custody of them, right? I adopted them. Now I could have children that I'm getting compensated for. I can get all that stuff as you as the spouse, as the surviving spouse, okay? So remember that. There's extra kickers there. You're also eligible, once you get DIC, it's like being 100% veteran, okay? That's basically what it is. It's like being 100%. So you're eligible for Champ VA, you're eligible for a lot of different things, okay? So remember that, all right? Champ VA is huge. That's that additional medical insurance, basically, all right? Let's see. I'm not gonna talk about that. That's tax-free. This is war pension. If you're below a certain income, which right now I think it's $17,000 we're in a poverty area. I get it. $17,000 for veterans. For spouses it's $11,000 a year, so on and so forth. Now we can dilute it down by taking out the medical bills and stuff like that to get that income threshold. But that's a war pension. So just because you don't qualify for DIC, if you're a spouse and you need additional funds, there's a pension that you could be eligible for. If you are in need of aid and attendance, there's a separate form that raises that threshold up. That applies especially if you're going into a nursing home or something like that. I do probably those about one a week. We talk about those requirements. Now here's what I'm going to say about that. If you have $300,000 in the bank, you don't qualify, okay? If you're saving that for your kids or grandkids, or the rainy day fund, well, guess when your rainy day came, all right? You need to dilute that. You need to get it down below $150,000, $125,000 in the bank. All assets are counted, and so on and so forth. So I've had people come in and say, I'm going into a nursing home and it's very expensive. Well, yes, you don't qualify for pension. You need to use that nest egg you had. If you sold a house in the past 3 years, so on and so forth, those are all counted as capital gains, okay? So remember that. There's a certain period that you have to qualify, that you have to have served in right there. It's got to be wartime service. The veteran has to serve during wartime service, okay? Those are the war periods and it goes all the way back, you can see, all the way to 1916. You can obviously see we're basically down. Our World War II veterans are very far and few between, bless their hearts. And then Korean conflict, we're still seeing some surviving spouses from that. Now it's going into Vietnam. Okay, I'm gonna hurry up here. Aid and attendance. Aid and attendance is additional special monthly compensation. Okay, that is for your activities of daily life, right? So you have to have trouble. A doctor has to establish that you need help eating. You need help transiting from one in a room to another, so on and so forth, okay? Getting in and out of bed, putting on your clothes, stuff like that. That raises the threshold for the pension. That also raises can be applied to DIC as well. So you as a surviving spouse can receive aid and attendance, okay? You're eligible for that too. So that's an additional special monthly compensation. $399.54, or if you're determined housebound, meaning housebound is just it. Doesn't mean you don't ever get out of your house. It means you are more likely than not to be in your house, right? Okay. So there's some automatic thresholds for housebound for veterans in the room. If you're 100% for one thing and 60% for another, or a combined of 60% disabilities, then you qualify for housebound right away. Just remember that too. That's a special monthly compensation. Okay. So that's an additional $187 a month. All right, we're talking about grants, all things grants. More information's in the room, in the back table. I'm going to cruise right through this. So, okay, there's the qualifiers right there. It's form 4555, and Basically, 2 years ago, they lightened up the requirements. It used to have to loss of limbs, loss of both limbs, both legs, hands, so on and so forth. Now we've reduced it down to one, okay? To qualify, one and an organic disease, okay? And then you can go from there. So this is a special adaptive housing. SAH, SHA, and TRA, they all fall under the same umbrella. Take that away. A housing grant right here is $117,000. So if you're wheelchair bound, or if you need crutches, you need a walker, and your house is not friendly. Like say I had one couple, they lived in a 2-story home, was not conducive to him at all. He had drop foot on one foot and then severe neuropathy in the other foot. Was not working for them anymore. Okay, and they didn't have the financial means to get out there and get another place. Okay, this is where you go. This is something that you're eligible for. You're 100%. You can go there and you can get this taken care of. Okay, up to $117,000. You can use it in 6 increments. That's as of 2024, by the way. You can use it in 6 increments. Okay. All right. Remember, if your qualifier is your limb, that it's limited annually. I think, what does it say? 120 veteran service members per fiscal year. Okay. And that can, if you qualify 1 year and it's already hit its cap, then you can roll over to the next year to utilize it then. Okay. This is what it'll cover. Okay. Construction, especially adapted homes on land. If you need a certain breathing treatment, so on and so forth. You need a sterile home. There's a lot of things it'll cover. More information at the table out there in the vestibule. And I'm going to show you just as a show and tell here. This is the M21-1 and the eligibility and all the requirements, front and back, okay? So there's no way I was memorizing all that. I love you guys, but not that much, right? Okay? So I brought it all there, the fact sheet and everything, but the main thing is put the information in your hand and then who to go to, okay? Let's see, can adapt an existing home, so on and so forth, or help the veteran purchase a home that's ready for adapted for you, okay? All right, so SHA is the sibling of SAH, okay? Especially housing home adaptation, right? It's limited to $23,444 a year, okay? And it all falls in the same circle there, okay? And then you can't buy a hot tub or a jacuzzi with it. That's not what it's for. I do have some people think that they can do that. That's not what it's for. But if there's a medical necessity, there is a way that has happened, okay? So I'm not saying if your sole circumstance is I need a swimming pool, no. But if there's a medical necessity, that say you have burns, severe burns, or there's some sort of cryogenic therapy that you need that is deemed necessary, then that could work, okay? You could possibly get your sauna. I don't know. All right. Let's see. You have to own your own home or will own your own home, okay? If you don't, then that's where TRA comes in. TRA is your temporary residence. And it's up to, there's your current gaps right there, 29,657, and then 5,000 for SHA cases. So, all right. Everybody understand that? So 3 different options for grants, okay? And there's your criteria. All right, who do you contact? Who does it fall under? You could talk to us. I'm not the foremost expert when it comes to these grants. I know enough to be dangerous. I think all VSOs just probably fall in that category, unless you, like some people, have been doing it for 40 years. Okay, I myself have 8 years experience doing this stuff, and I'll tell you, I learn something just about every day, and it's a constantly evolving thing. You could qualify for something. The main thing is, who do you speak to? You speak to the housing. This falls under the housing section, okay? So there's the phone number. You don't call the 1-800-827-1000 number, although you can, and then they'll put you over into this arena. This is the housing folks, okay? There's an email right there. If you feel you qualify, you're a 100% service member, and you feel you qualify and you want to explore that route, go for it, okay? If you wanted to use it to pay off some of your house, then apply. Okay, that's all I have to say. The worst they can do is tell you no. All right, so reach out and apply. The application forms are there, so on and so forth. Okay, who has jurisdiction for us for this for that grant? It's Atlanta. Okay, that's who all home loans go through. Atlanta has that jurisdiction, and you'll be assigned a SHA or SAH expert. They will kind of shepherd you through that. Okay, and they'll work it remote with you. It's going to require you to roll up your sleeves. There's a big 70-page pamphlet, front and back, that tells you what the adaptations are and all the rules of the road. It's got like 8 chapters. It's huge. So it's going to require some legwork on your behalf. Okay, it's on your end. You're not going to be able to just kick it over to a VSO and say, "Here, I want to do this," and we can't carry that torch for you. That's not what we do. Okay. But we can get you in touch with the right people. All right? And I'm sorry, that one is so small. Don't even try to do that. HISA. That's the Home Improvement Structural Alteration. That's a HISA grant. Current monetary value is $6,000. Okay? So HISA is different than those other 3 grants that we just talked about in the fact that it does not go through the housing. It doesn't go through the VHA, the home loans. It goes through VHA, Veterans Health Administration. It starts with your doctor. Okay, it starts with your doctor, and you go through prosthetic services, PSAS, and then prosthetics then can help you apply for HISA. Okay, there has to be a medical need. HISA can help you if you are in a wheelchair or if you have a walker like me. Just had my hips replaced. And I needed to get in, I couldn't get in and out of the shower. My poor wife, I love her. You know, here I am, 200 pounds, and she's sitting there trying to pick me up and carry me around. Didn't work out so well for her. But I'm still here today, and I survived, and so did she. If you needed to get into a new shower, a stand-up shower, or something like that, or if you need, and who knew that toilets, those low toilets, boy, when you get down on those things and you got bad hips, oh my goodness. You are not getting up. I'm telling you that right now. But HISA can take care of that. They can get the right toilet height for you. You can get the rails if you need all the safety rails. There's approved ADA compliance out there that HISA can help. HISA can also help with a ramp. Okay? These are things, prosthetic services can help and do this. They can build ramps. Now I'm going to tell you, we live in the best community. I think Cumberland County, I'm super proud to be from Cumberland County. I'm super proud to live here. I think we have the best community, and everybody rallies around everybody. And I will tell you, there's a bunch of people that want to help, and people will go out and build a ramp on a weekend. There's several churches, so on and so forth. This is another underutilized benefit that you're skipping out on, because I'm going to tell you, this is hard. You got to do the legwork. You got to do the paperwork. You got to start talking to your doctor and get with prosthetic services. It's not the easiest thing to do. Once the application goes and you qualify, then it's free sailing from there, and you'll get your ramp and everything like that. A lot of people just want to press the easy button though, and they'll go to their church or they'll go to their special organization, and then everybody will rally behind and rush out there. And I see, I'm gonna look at Jack right here, CCVAC president here. They go to the CCVAC and they ask them for money to help with these ramps. I just shake my head at that, because we're taking money that could be directed to a different area when there's already a program established for that. Okay? Utilize the programs that are available for you, to you. That's my main thing. If it's non-service connected, it's $2,000 is how much you can get for a HISA grant. If it's service connected, it's $6,000. That's roughly. It's up on that slide. Sorry, it's an eye chart. Special adaptive automobile, that's your AA, and that's your AAE, right? Adaptive automobile equipment. So that can be, you've seen a lot of these vans running around that have alterations, okay? You know, this again starts with prosthetics department, okay? That's through your VHA, prosthetics department. You put in the application. Application form is pretty straightforward, easy to do. Has to be medically necessary, okay? And then you could get up to, it's $30,000, $25,000 is the current one. $25,600. My eyeballs. 25,600. So that's what you can get, and I'll tell you, in fair market value, that's not going to help you. That's not going to, on cars these days, too expensive. You know, so good luck with you on that one. But hey, it's something better than nothing. It can also pay for air conditioning in your car. It can pay for, you know, windows, so on and so forth. So power windows and everything you need to adapt your car. Okay? So if you had to go out and buy a new car because of your disabilities, you could qualify for this. Okay? So please remember that. There's additional funds right there. And the check will be made payable to the person doing the adaptation, or to the, it will not come to you as the member, okay? It'll go to that holder, all right? Just remember that. So you won't see the money directly. There's a bunch of, in the middle there, if you have the handout, but there's a bunch of requirements in the middle. It talks about what you have to have, so on and so forth. The main takeaway is it has to be service connected, and you have to have a medical need, okay? And who do you see? Prosthetics department. You can come and talk to me, and I'm going to cheer you on, and I'm going to give you the right form, but I'm not going to tell you, I'm not going to file it for you, because you have to go through your prosthetics department. They're going to take the lead. That's in Murfreesboro or Nashville, or you can go to Mountain Home, or you can go to Chattanooga, VA Chattanooga. We can help you out there, okay? That's not prosthetics. Cookville doesn't have prosthetics. Or if you're community care, you're going to have to go establish yourself with VHA, Veterans Health Administration. All right. There's more equipment allowances, so on and so forth. So there's additional funds available for that. Okay. Remember, the key takeaway is it's up to $25,000. Okay. All right. For your automobile. If your condition changes and you need to requalify for something, then you can utilize that. Let's see, this is your AAE. So remember, AAE is your adaptive automobile equipment. That's different than your automobile allowance, okay? So there's a different application for that. And you can actually get assistance, again, through prosthetics department. You have to have the window sticker of the car, you know, so on and so forth. There's other requirements on there. A copy of the driver's license. The VA will also, healthcare will also help train you on how to drive. So if you lose your feet, you lose your operation of your limbs, and you need to start driving with your hands, then they'll train you how to do that. They'll retrain you how to do that. It's not going to arm you up with the equipment and then send you out there free in the world. If they do that, please let us know, because I don't want to be on the road. All right? So, but they will retrain you. Okay? There's paid training. All right, so there's your 6-step process. What happens after you submit the forms, goes through review and so on and so forth, and then finally they'll cut the check back to the vendor. Okay? Where can you find this information? va.gov. va.gov. I'm a huge fan of Google. Okay? Google arms me up with a lot of great information. va.gov, just Google it, va.gov, prosthetics, HISA grant, these are all the grants, AAE, so on and so forth. It'll take you, if you don't have your logon established, it'll take you to the site where you can actually follow through. I do not encourage you to submit the application yourself, okay? I just sent something out to our groups that said, the secretary of the VA came back and said, you know, their highest percentage of VA claims that get awarded are done with a VSO. Okay, that's for compensation. And I strongly carry that on through everybody else. There's a high denial rate for people that take it in their own hands and they get on the app and they submit a claim. I just had one guy, super smart guy, but he was so smart he hurt himself because he just kept on going in every day. He was like, oh, this hurts, I'm going to claim it. This hurts, I'm going to claim it. I'm going to claim it. And then a year later, he's wondering why he hasn't heard back anything, because he just keeps on piling on to all these claims because the mobile app makes it that easy, right? Please don't do that. Please come and see an accredited VSO or attorney if you feel you need an attorney. See somebody accredited. We're a free service. You're already paying for it out of your taxpayer dollars for the county. Okay? We're a free service. We have a 2-month backlog right now. It actually isn't that bad, because the way we mitigate that is you call and make the appointment, you see our office, you come in that same week or walk in that same week, you'll see my assistant, she'll make sure we have a good valid power of attorney, she'll reestablish you under TDVS. I'm not doing American Legion and I'm not doing VFW. And I'll tell you guys the reason one-on-one, but I'll tell you it's just better for you to be under TDVS, sorry. It's better for you as a veteran to be under TDVS because there's better representation on the back end if needed, okay? So it makes it cleaner. We will reestablish you under TDVS and we will do an intent to file in right then and there, okay? I understand your claim is the most important thing to you in the world when you decide to do it. Okay, you guys got my jab there, right? Because just at that point, it becomes the most important thing to you, even though you waited 20 years to do it, okay? So then everybody comes running to me or running to Wendy and saying, well, it's ludicrous that it takes you guys 2 months to get us in. Well, you know what? You waited 20 years, sorry, okay? So please just bear with us. We're going to get you in, and we're going to do it right the first time. Don't take matters into your own hand. If you can't get into us, you're welcome to go see the field office there in Cookville. And I'm getting told to wrap it up. So the field office in Cookville has 2 state people for VSOs, and they're fully accredited as well. And they're a wealth of knowledge. You're welcome to go see them too. They service the entire state of Tennessee. Okay. I'll tell you, currently our mayor has put it out to me that I am only to see Cumberland County veterans and service spouses. There's a reason for that. Okay? That's because we're funded by the taxpayers of Cumberland County. And if we have that long of a wait, then they need to go to their current county. I'm going to shameless plug for Ray County. Their VSOs, you raise your hand real quick. Their VSOs are in the room. We've been seeing a lot of Ray County veterans because there's been a gap there for a little while. So I would expect them, once they're fully restored and they're good to go, that they'll be taking their veterans back. Please. But other than that, I don't mind speaking to anybody or seeing anybody. I just don't want it to come at the cost of Cumberland County veterans. Okay, I'm not going to get to these FAQs. 1-800-827-1000 is a number. It's a life source. If you find yourself the same way you dial 456-0090 to get all your answers to your questions, and you hold our phone line up for like an hour because you want to, but I have one more question. I have a quick question. There's no such thing as a quick question in this business. I'll tell you that right now. If you find yourself calling 456-0090, she's kicking me off. There's your number. I told you, she's kicking me off. All right, that's it. That's it. Okay? Everybody happy with that? Somebody's got some administrative thing here. Okay, there's a hat that's been found. If you're missing your hat, please come up and get it here in the front corner. And thank you, Sherry, for keeping me honest.
We're